So I'm going to share with you 10 examples of what child manipulation looks like. So the first one is when they suddenly, out of nowhere, start saying, you're being told that they're saying that they don't want to see you anymore. This is usually following years and years of brilliant time with you, brilliant relationship. There's no obvious trigger or incident for them to want to make this change, but you might know that there's a trigger, that something that's happened that has triggered your ex's inferiority, their sense of abandonment, triggered something in them that has made them suddenly go, right, I'm going to keep this child. So that's one. Two is that your ex is basically getting your child to be a spy in the camp. You know, like on those wildlife shows where the penguin is a robot. That's what your child is deployed to be, to come into your house and to then go back and report everything that is being told. So you might find that your ex suddenly starts sending emails knowing things that they shouldn't know, or things that only your child can tell them. And there's two parts to this. Obviously, one which is the control element and the invasiveness of it, but two, it's designed to come between you and the child, because what do? Do you go to your child and say, please don't share what goes on in this house, which puts them in a very difficult position? Or do you leave it and just let the other person keep knowing stuff? And that is a very difficult thing to balance, because obviously your child might want to talk about things that go on in your house. And I'm really keen that there's not that secretive nature of it. But I think that there are ways to have conversations with the child or children where you could talk about, not in this specific case, but you can use examples of surveillance. You can use examples of how that's invading someone's privacy. Again, I wouldn't use it specific to what's going on, but you might see something in a TV show, or there'll be a real life example. So for example, you're driving down the street and they see a video that's recording, or the CCTV. You can talk about that, and you can talk about it from a moral perspective of what it's like when you don't give permission for someone to know things. So be creative in how you have those conversations, but it is a real tricky one. When they start keeping secrets, so this is the third one, and really is a huge red flag for me, is when children start saying things like, I don't know, I can't say, I've been told not to tell you that. Because this is a grooming behaviour, and I'm not necessarily talking about sexual grooming, but I'm talking about a grooming whereby it becomes an alignment. This is our little secret. Now that can be for lots of different things, not like I say, not necessarily sexual and overtly nefarious, but certainly worrying that your child is being encouraged to keep secrets from you. Now, again, it wouldn't necessarily be going straight and say, well, we don't keep secrets in this house. You can talk about that you want to give the autonomy to the child of, essentially, it's up to you if you want to talk about it. It's not for someone else to tell you what you can and can't tell. That's for you to decide. If you feel you want to talk about it, then you have every right to talk about it. And so giving them the autonomy to make that decision, as opposed to what could be twisted to be forcing them to tell you something. It's all about developing skills, those long-term skills that you want them to have. So number 5 is when they start coming back with stuff about court or other adult language, so how you broke up, what were some of those things, that adult language that isn't theirs, knowing things that they shouldn't know. Again, huge red flag of manipulation, because your ex is trying to draw them in to their side. They're trying to create that alignment of they're all good, you're all bad, you're the problem, you're the one taking them to court, you're the one who broke the family up, you're the one that won't let them go on holiday, you're the one, and again, the temptation can be to set the record straight, but it's about thinking, what does my child need long term to protect them from this? And again, it's instilling those skills in the child to, how do they manage that? How, and talking them through why you've put those boundaries in place, why you don't think it's appropriate for them to know that, and why you haven't talked to them about that. But basically, it's trying to get them to do some critical thinking about that. Now, again, they can well be manipulated, but it's about being creative and focusing on what skills are you trying to develop in your child long term that will protect them, as opposed to that immediate, I need to defend myself against this. That's that trauma response, and very normal and natural, by the way. But you need to think longer term on this to stop that manipulation for your child, because your child is going to have this parent all the time. The next one is when the child says things that are choosing sides. So, oh, well, I believe dad's version of events, or I think mum's right, I think you've been horrible to her. When they start obviously taking sides, again, this is signs of that alignment of the other parent manipulating the child to take their side, to align with them, with their narrative against you. And this isn't what the position that the child should be forced to take. So again, it's allowing the child to be autonomous in what they think and feel. So if they say, I believe that, talk to them and say, okay, can you talk me through how you made that decision? And just trying to encourage. Now, they're not always going to be open to that, but rather than jumping in and trying to defend yourself or say, that's not fair, you haven't heard my side of the story, all of that, which plants them right in the middle again, it's about trying to help them to be more critical thinking and look at more and tune into what they really feel. Does it feel like I would do something like that? That kind of thing. So number 7 is, whenever the child gets upset, rather than come to you, they've been conditioned and told to contact the other parent. So this is essentially an emotional manipulation of the child to not see you as being capable of meeting their emotional needs and creating a dependency with the other parent. You can't take care of me when I'm upset, only that parent can. And again, that's just showing them that you can. And part of that is managing your own emotions as well. Number 8 is starting to call you abusive, but with no real understanding of why. Again, these are conversations that you can have around, what does that word mean? When you say I'm abusive, can you explain to me what you mean by that? What do you think that word means? And it's not to right or wrong or correct it. It's just to get the cogs going. Why would I use that word? What am I thinking when I'm saying that? Not to necessarily make any immediate changes, but just to get their cogs going. Number 9 is selling them secrets. So things that they really, really shouldn't know about the adult issue. So it's a combination of those two things. So if there's things that are totally age appropriate and they're being shared with them, or things that they just don't need to know at all and actually is harmful to them, your ex will say, I'm just being transparent. It's important that they know this is their life as well. Then they're being harmful. And again, you can say why you haven't shared that, why it's not appropriate for them to know that, and show, because I'm protecting you from this, that and the other. And finally, child asks questions designed to gather information. So similar to being a spy, it's using the child to come in And again, it's the recruitment, making that child feel special, making that child feel like they're part of something. But actually they're just being used and weaponized. So how many of them do you recognize? Put them in the comments below if you feel comfortable to do so. Don't forget to check out the resource centre at getcutready.co.uk.